countrylife.com. I'll see you in the country.
Living the country life. Ideas and inspiration for your place in the country. You can find more information on today's topic, share your tips, and post photos by visiting us online at livingthecountrylife.com.
Today's Daily Encouragement by William the Encourager, sponsored by Ted Russell Nissan, home of the lifetime warranty on Kingston Pike.
Good morning, my brothers and sisters. Praise ye the Lord. What a mighty God we serve, who has given us power. He has not given us the power of fear or the spirit of fear, but he's given us power and love and a sound mind. That spiritual power give men the courage to rebuke sin. That spiritual power is mightier than the physical forces that you see. Zechariah 4:6 says, Then he answered and spake unto me, saying, This is the word of the Lord unto Zerubbabel, saying, Not by might nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord of hosts. When the spirit of the Lord is in you, there is nothing that is impossible. When the spirit of the Lord has come up on you, all things are possible. We as men can be the men that God has called us to be. As a group of men, as an individual man, nothing shall be impossible, because the spiritual power that works in you allows us to know that Jesus is the supreme example of that spiritual power. Luke 4:14 says, And Jesus returned in the power of the Spirit unto Galilee, and there went out a fame of him throughout all the region round about. Brothers and sisters, the Lord tells us in his word, greater things shall we do, because he has already went to the Father. Christ has saving power. He has power to pardon. He has infinite power over nature, over his own life, life-giving power, wonder-working power demonstrated by his resurrection. So, brothers and sisters, please know 1 Corinthians 1:27, but God has chosen the foolish things of the world to confound the wise, and God has chosen the weak things of the world to confound the things which are mighty. In other words, God can take nothing and turn it into something. In Genesis, he talks about how there was nothing, but God spoke, and he said, Let there be light, and there was light. If you are in a dark place right now, our Lord and Savior is able to speak to that darkness and cause it to flee. Our God is able to speak to chaos and to bring peace in the midst of the storm. If you are in trouble, God is able to speak to the mountains, and those mountains will be moved. If you are in a place of unrest, God can speak to your situation, and he can cause rest. He can say, Peace, be still. And it would have to be still. What a mighty God we serve. He loves you. And he wants you to know that he would go to the ends of the universe to let you know how much he loves you. Please be advised, my brothers and sisters, of the power of God. He has a reckless love that will come and find you and pull you out of the miry clay. But please remember, there's a way out of your mess, and it's JESUS.
Where can you buy a brand new Nissan with a lifetime warranty? Kingston Pike. Hey, folks, Gerald Anderson with Ted Russell Nissan. You heard it right. Every new Ted Russell Nissan comes with a lifetime warranty, and that's a long, long time. Ted Russell Nissan on Kingston Pike.
Good morning and welcome to AM 1380 WYSH and Ask Your Neighbor. Ask Your Neighbor can also be heard and seen on our website, WYSHradio.com. And if you are in Anderson, Rome, or Morgan County and have Comcast cable, you can watch Ask Your Neighbor on BBB TV Channel 12. Ask Your Neighbor is the program where you call in and do just that. Ask Your Neighbor. Do you have a comment? Do you have a problem? Or do you have a question? Then call in and ask your neighbor. 865-457-1380 or toll free at 877-711-4005. And for those of you that might be listening or watching on the internet, you can email from our website, WYSHradio.com. Just click on the Contact Us button and email your questions. Now sit back and listen as listeners throughout East Tennessee and the entire world answer your questions on Ask Your Neighbor on BBB TV 12 and AM 1380 WYSH.
It is Thursday, and that means David West Stars and Stories of the Kaz Walker Show. David and the boys are here with us this morning on Thursday after, well, we missed last Thursday was the holiday, and so it's been a couple Thursdays. Yeah. How are you, fella? Yeah, we're always off, but we were not here.
Way off.
Yeah, we were way off that day. Morning, fellas. What's been going on?
We got the whole crew here this morning. We got hired. Destin's here. And
we just talking about Barney. Sammy, I hadn't heard from Sammy, so he's usually tuned in and listening. He'll probably send me a text here in a minute from wherever he is in the world.
He's just too busy.
He's gotten busy, bless his heart.
Yeah, Destin's here. A lot of people don't know who Destin is. That's Max, moneymaker.
Yeah.
Son. Max was a guy, him and Mr. Fox, run the Fox Auto Salvage there in Oak Ridge for years. And
how long did they run that?
I heard you tell a story about a while ago with Lester Like.
Oh.
Tell Matt and Howard about the milkshake. His daddy run a
He worked for David at the barn.
Max did.
Barn, and
yeah.
He worked at the station stand, so there's some guy come out and said, I want a milkshake. And Max fixed him a milkshake and set it down. He said, how much is it? And he said, it's $1. And he fumbled around in his pocket. He said, well, I ain't got 70 cents. So Max reached over and he takes a big old drink out of it and sets it down. There's 70 cents worth. I said, he hung around his uncle too long. He took that
they figured it out. Take 30 cents in a swaller. There you go.
Like one time, this boy was really giving David a rough time. And he was just a youngster. And, of course, back in the day, David didn't have a whole lot of sympathy on you. Messed with him. Anyway, this guy kept on. He's using some bad language in front of the girls and stuff about the Munich barn.
Mm-hmm.
And David asked him politely to leave and shut up. Of course, he bucked on David. David, he reached back to hit him, and he thought better. He told Max next day, he said, boy, your uncle's lucky. He said, he didn't hit me. He said, I'm a miner. He said, yeah, you being a miner wouldn't put your head back on.
Been a miner with some problems.
Yeah.
A miner with major problems.
Everybody just takes so much,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, a quiet guy that don't say much is dangerous.
Yeah.
Like you said, them still waters run deep.
That's it.
Yeah. Oh, Max was something else. He always wanted to pull something on me, Anything he could do to me. We had a big shed up there where they had turkey shoots, and it was on that old back road, Turkey Lane. See, one time it was closed, and people just walked through there. And there's a beer joint, and they sold beer and everything right above us there. And these boys would go up there and get them beers, and it'd be maybe raining, or they just wanted to get out of the sun. They wanted to sit in that shed and drink a bunch of that beer, and they had cans in there. That's before we found out you could sell them. And they had cans, them big old white straw bags, about 3 or 4 of those white straw bags full of cans. And we stayed up all night. We called Jeff Boy, he practically lived up there with me and in our family because he was, his mama, they divorced and his mama was going to his house trailer. She's gone. His mother rented for me too, but he just hung with me all the time, day and night. Name is Jeff. You've met Jeff.
Yeah, yeah.
We called him Jeff Rosso. But him and Max and us, and CR, the Indian boy, we'd stay up all night. We hardly ever slept. I mean, we just afraid we were going to miss out on something, I reckon. But anyhow, and see, CR was an Indian boy that came here that he didn't have no education, but he's an Indian. And, he was a good worker and good feller. He could drive a tractor and do stuff like that. But it got about 1 or 2 o'clock, and they said, what are we going to do tonight? When it started about 10 o'clock, what are we going to stay up and do tonight? And I said, one thing, I'd like to get rid of them beer cans down there. And he said, okay, we'll get them. So I said, okay, and I drove up there and Bax and Rosso got out, and they loaded them all up in 5 big old white store bags, about 5 of them. And we went down the road and found out where the guy had thrown them in there. You know, been putting some of the boys. And I said, next door, put a sack in the yard there. Well, Mac got out and was shaking them out all over like pepper, you know. I said, get in here, they're going to wake somebody up. And he said, shoot, you made us pick them up, we're going to make them pick them up. He threw them all. Oh, man, I should go back there next morning and look at that. It looked like it's coming a can storm in there, you know. Oh, you made us pick them up, we're going to make them pick them up. And I got to, I don't know if I've told this or not. Yeah, it's funny. This Indian boy, he was a very good person. He just walked in one day carrying a hot store bag or whatever you call them, and his clothes in them. Now he'd been coming and helped me a little bit on the side because he worked around little with people. And he come in that night, and I was working by myself. I needed some help. And I said, CR, you know, he come in. I said, what are you doing? And he said, nothing. I said, I just come up here to be with you. And I said, you come to be with me? And he said, yeah. I said, I just gonna move in up here. And I said, well, we had to get some arrangements here right quick. So we had a bed we put over in the music barn in the dressing room. So we I said, you can stay here in the dressing room, I guess, you know. And later we'd be in an apartment there, but before that, he just moved in, and now he stayed with us. And whatever you told him, you know, I mean, he was just a good worker. But David Riggs he was one of the biggest people under, I guess, Joe Jenkins. He was right next in line. And I said, I need a security officer out here. And he said, well, CR can do it. And so he got him a uniform. And police uniform out of the sheriff's department, gave him a big badge and a big billy stick, and we bought him a blank pistol for he might shoot us and shoot somebody. So he got out there, and Betty, I mean, that really worked. He just walked in, see, he was quiet, didn't say nothing. You talk about really give him something to do, and he really felt good and had a lot of respect. And he was going around through there and taking care of things and walk around at night. And, I mean, he just like he's on the beat. I mean, like his heart, and he'd go up in the parking lot, check a car, and they'd say, you know, say, here comes that officer. You know, maybe he'd done something with him. Here comes that policeman. Whatever you call his thing. So me and Fred Smith and a whole bunch of us was sitting there, and Karen had went somewhere and bought him a helmet, like you wear on motorcycles, but this one had a light on it. It blinked. And so we bought the light, and she brought it to give it to him, and we was sitting out there right in front of the side of the building now, you know, just like a bunch of hillbillies sitting out there in front of car hoods and watching the car. You remember Fred, you know, he's Red and Fred. He wrote a lot of hee-haw. I was sitting there making jokes. There goes 01 light shining. And at that time, they had a wreck right smack in front of us. Two of them, bam, they hit, and he said, oh, knocked our lights out. I said, good night. We got up. I said, they're going to have a bad wreck. I mean, I already did dark come around that curve. I said, CR, run there and get your uniform on right quick. Stay here in dark traffic. And another one of the boys grabbed a piece of material and went up on the other end and started doing it. Well, CR put his uniform and put his helmet on. He come out there and he did. Fred said, turn your light on. And he flipped his light on there. He stood out there in the middle of the road, that light going around that helmet. He was directing traffic. Well, here come a highway patrolman up. Fred said, oh, goodness, we're getting... And CR said, you're right up yonder. The wreck's right up here, officer, just going up there. And he just directed him on up there. And that guy just looked at him real funny and went on up there. Oh, it's things that we done that nobody could ever do them. And the fun we had doing them, you know. It kind of reminds me of Bobby Stooksbury. I hope he's probably listening today. He was telling me about this guy that he knew that said he got hooked up with this girl, and he just, you know, showed up in town one day, and he saw this girl with his eating or something, and he won't go out with her, and they went out a time or two, and he said, I'm going to really take good care of you next time I come in town. So I'm going to take good care of you. So he come in town, and he give her a little car. He had some kind of little car, Ford Chevrolet or something. He give it to her. And he said, now here, just to show you how much I appreciate you, I'm going to give you some money. Give her $500, I believe, where Bobby here at Stooksbury. He'll know why I'm telling it right now. But anyhow, that man left, and I don't think she ever saw him again. But anyhow, he left. When he did, she was out driving the car around town, and the law picked her up, stopped her. It was stolen. He stole the car and gave her a stolen car.
Oh, man.
So they took her to jail, and, you know, she went to pay a big bond to get out. Don't worry about it. Said, I got plenty of money here. She searched out that money and started counting it out, and they looked at it and said, well, that's counterfeit. She's trying to get out of jail. County, she poor girl really got took, did you?
Oh, yeah. Bad.
Oh, man. I mean, there's some funny things happening. Bobby's probably listening to us today. That ain't exactly where it went, Bobby. You can come back next week and straighten it out. He's got some good stories. He told me one about one of them places up there in Northville store somewhere said that this girl come in to rob him. And there's this young boy back there, I think. And he put your hand up, and he had his hand up. And she said, unlock this cash register. And he was trying to find the key, and he was all nervous, couldn't get the key. She said, I ain't got time to wait on you. So she just grabbed the cash register up and took off with the whole cash register. And Bobby said she went outside, and when them, you know, we park the cars in a big old bar, you know.
Yeah.
So she tripped over one of them, the cash register went up, and iron come down on the blacktop, and it busted it open. And said, change, money went. Oh, and the guy was up there looking out there and said she'd done her picking some of it up, and then she took off with cash register.
Man.
You know, it's a sight what people does, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a sight, but in shoplifting at Sodderville. My sister Faye, she was a good Christian lady, and she didn't believe in stuff like that. But anyhow, she was there, and these boys stole an echo box. You remember them things?
Yeah.
Ron?
Yeah. The
Echoplex.
yeah, you could plug them in.
This echo box in it when Echoplex made them.
Yeah.
It repeated you when you played down. Chet had invented, I don't know who invented it, but he used them on a lot of his records. Blue Echo or something with it. He used it, named some songs after it. And so we had one sitting there. We just had one. And it's hard for all of us to take care of all that. And she was running the counter and answering the phone, doing her secretarial work. And she's even had time to gossip a little bit, you know what I mean? They had a lot of talent.
Oh, yeah.
But anyhow, and Rhonda said, or somebody said, that guy took that box outside. They said he did. Said, that's an Echoplex, man. $375 way back in the 70s, the good old days, you know. So Faye, he's fixing to leave. Faye just said, I'm going to follow you out. You know, Ken walked out the car and said, I want my box back there. He said, what? I bought it. She said, yeah, you bought it right off the counter just a few minutes ago. This girl never saw you take it out. So he's getting it out. And she said, by the way, he said, what's your name? He said, you don't need my name. She said, my name stands for honesty. It's Faye West. What does yours stand for? Oh, she reamed him out. She gave him a good one. And Max was there, your daddy. He's just a young boy then. And I mean, she rebuked him real heavy.
Yeah.
Max said, you know, I would rather she just had knocked me out instead of sit there and listen to all that. Said she preached to him, got him in the corner and preached to him. Told him about being a Christian. No, my name stands for Hollis. He said, you ought to have heard that day. Said, she really gave him a good one. And then another girl, I took some jewelry in on some trades over. And we had the jewelry box out. Somebody won't look at it. I just laid it down. And this girl that was looking at it, another girl sitting there that was in the office with her, just, you know, the way the office made it, it's all in one thing, or cash register and everything. And she said, that girl took that big necklace. And I said, she did? She said, yeah. And Faye said, hey, we need the necklace back in. I didn't get no necklace. And she said, in fact, I'm leaving. So Faye farted out the car. She said, you better get back in there. So I got your license number and everything. I said, oh. She said, come in there and told me. I said, now tell her. I said, see, I just gonna con her and get me. I said, you tell her that she went back through yonder. She probably dropped it while she was looking at it. And I said, get away from her. Let her take it and drop it and find it. I said, let everybody get out on the easy way and I get my necklace back. Sure enough, she done it. She come in. Well, it may be back here somewhere, but I put it back in the box. And they said, well, you may have, but said you walked back through yonder and you sure you didn't drop it or lay it down or something? She went, here it is, right here in the middle of the floor, right now, picked it up right back to us. But sometimes it's better to do it that way it is with a stick.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true.
Man, we had some pretty rough people. Bill Fox, the guy used to work with us, be it just me and him running it. He ran the lawnmower shop and I run the store. And this guy come in there, you know, that's a rough place. Clinton Highway wasn't nothing but beer joints except us.
Right.
Beer joints was it, and maybe a little grocery store too. I mean, it was just flat beer joints.
Both sides of the highway.
Both sides of the highway, yeah, both of them. Everywhere you went was beer joints on Clinton Highway. That's all it was. And when I opened up the music bar, and they said, you can't run that out there. And I said, how come? He said, nobody's going to come because Clinton Highway is the #1 beer joint highway in Knoxville. I mean, it's a whole area. So I had to put up signs that no alcoholic beverage allowed, family show and dance. And we pulled it off because a lot of people want to go to something like that.
Yeah.
Everybody didn't want to go to beer joints, but anyhow, it's a board company. I mean, there's some roughnecks come in. They probably whooped you or robbed you or anything. And Bill was right around behind the counter in that ugly little bitty room there. And this guy, he come out and he had, he come in and he was looking and said, who owns this monument? I said, I do. And he said, which one of them do you want? Like that. About that time old Bill stepped out of the double barrel. I don't believe we'll take either one of them today. You want one? He got his tail feathers up and got out of there, you know. He thought I was there by myself, so he's going to rob me. One night I had a guy to trail me. It was Christmas Eve, and the car was parked up there, just up on the side of the road right above it. We come out, me and this couple people was there, my friends was there. One of the boys worked with me. And they said, let's go see the Christmas lights. So we got in the car, pulled out, and that car pulled out. Stayed right on my bumper. Went over to Edgemore and turned left on my bumper. Went down Edgemore and turned up in yonder at, like you're going to Jake Butcher's house. Went right behind me, and I got in the other road, and it followed me all the way around, just kept on. So finally I said, well, I guess I'll just have to settle up here, and I got my big hog leg out. I pulled over, and I said, he walked up. So there's something about it. When you see a guy's not going to take you, I don't know, you have feelings that a guy's ain't going to scare you and he's fixing to blow you away or something.
Right.
And I just laid my arm up and put the barrel like that because I knew he was going to pull his gun out and I was going to spat. But he didn't. He jumped out of the car when I stopped, ran up there. I was sitting there like this in the car. And I said, what is it you want? He said, I'm running from the law. I said, how can I get to La Follette on the back road? And I said, would be no need me telling you how to get up there. I don't know the names of them, and you wouldn't get up there nowhere. Okay, I'll see you. I mean, you tell right quick.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good time back off.
Yeah.
We had some days over. We've had a lot of. I tell you something funny. It happened. Jimmy Murphy. A lot of people knows him. He had some good records out. Oh, Jim did. You know what I mean? And he just put an album out for one of them bigger labels. They gave him put him out a big album. He was in there, and I just closed the store. See, I closed the store at 7 o'clock. And I had to run down there and take a shower, put my show clothes on, open the barn up, start having the show at 8 o'clock. I mean, I just run right on the schedule, just real tight. And I was down there trying to get ready, and they said, get up here right quick. I said, there's a drunk up here. I said, the ticket woman said, if you get up here, there's a drunk here. Well, I come through the door, and when I did, this guy sitting here, and right there said another one. And I think I just looked like a drunk, you know, and I just bawled him out. I was upset. Here I am. I've worked out all day, and I'm tired. I just got fixed to take a shower. I've got to get back up and do the show. And that's it, 1-1. I didn't ask which one it was. I just give this the first one I come to. I read him his rights. When I got through, the ticket girl said, it ain't him, it's that up there. So I said, okay, I'm sorry, buddy. And I went over and gave him another dose. And Jimmy Murphy said, well, I hate that you run. I said, just for you just get out of here right now. And Jimmy Murphy said, you know, and I sold him a record album. Oh, Jimmy's funny. I sold him a record album. But I guess one of the funny things that happened, of course, a million things happened, but this was real funny. Before we built the building bigger, we had them posts, and, you know, you put the chairs right next to the posts where there wouldn't be an aisle. And this old guy, this man and woman come in, and, you know, they looked all right. I could tell they probably had a drink, but who cares, you know? Yeah. They come in. When they did, well, he sat on the front row. He got one bought him a ticket and everything else. Will and Curtin, him and her sit there. They'd been on the store, sitting on the front row. And we done about 2 songs, and we had a little stage it was about the stage. We hadn't put a fence around it. That's what it was. He could step up on it about 2 foot. And he sat on the front row, and all of a sudden he stood up and he said, hey, I don't mean to interrupt the show or nothing. He said, I just want to tell you, I'm from Nashville, Tennessee. I play some on the Grand Ole Opry. He said, this is a wonderful show. He said, we hadn't done maybe 15 minutes. It's a wonderful show. He said, I got to leave, go back to Nashville. Me and my wife here said, this is beautiful. I just want to tell you that. And I said, well, we sure appreciate having you here with us. And I believed him, you know. He said, by the way, can I sing one? I said, yeah, come on up here and sing one. This guy's from Grand Ole Opry, you know, that's what was in my mind. He stepped up there and he sung one, and it was hot. And I said, I guess he's getting drunk. That's all I hear. He stepped up there and he sung one, and he started singing on another, and I kept looking at him like Bill Carlisle. What kind of deal is this, you know? And then he said, I'm going to do another one here. I can't help it, I'm still in love with you. And they're saying it, pointing at me. I can't help it if I'm still in love with you. You know, I can tell you wasn't Grand Ole Opry. He was from there anymore. And it made me mad, and I caught that dude with an arm. You know, sometimes you just can't hold it no longer. Had that banjo on my neck. Of course, I was big and stout. He was not as big as me. I caught him with the arm and set him off stage. Of course, the crowd just dying laughing. All this, I mean, that's the best part of the show.
Exactly.
He went back through that aisle, and just as he got back through there, he turned around and called me a SOB. Started to call me bad names. And I said, here, hold this banjo. I was going to go get him, and I started off. When I did, he started to run. He run into that post right in the head. It run, building, boing. You know, that post. Probably
a big metal post.
You could hear him big go, boing.
Boing.
And Monroe had a drink or two, too. My dope burner said, I'll be about sober that, you know what, fool up, didn't it? Buddy, when I just stopped when he hit that post. He's just sitting there looking real wild. I put him out just about.
Oh, yeah.
Old gal got him an arm, they got him out already. I wish it sounded like he rung a bell. He hit that so hard.
I did.
He started to run, you know, that's coming out. He went right down. He had that smack on that post. Oh,
They cut that the next day.
we just had so many deals that go on there at you, and we get it, sell it out full, see, and I start putting seats up in the dance floor, and here they come. David, we can't dance nowhere because I say, oh, baby, I got a headache. Come and give me a hug or hold my hand or something. I said, this place is driving me crazy, you know. Oh, you ain't going to do nothing. I said, well, what do you want me to do? Go out there and throw them out, tell them they can't come in here? And no, I went them over on my side like that. But we had a lot of good times. And,
Shouldn't turn them away. That's money.
yeah.
We just move shears out of the way.
Well, we put them in there.
We just eliminated that dance floor. We just kept.
Yeah. And boy, I mean, we'd
Fill that thing up twice.
yeah, had to have 2 shows a night.
Yeah.
Go to 3 o'clock in the morning. Night, good.
Oh, I remember.
You know what we'd do? We'd do 2 shows a night at 11:30. A lot of people remember. That's why I'm leaving it up to you, Dale and Grace. You remember them, don't you, Ron?
Yeah, I do.
Well, Dale lived in an apartment up there on the hill, and I gave him part of his rent to come down there and sing for 11 to 11:30. That was his part. And to take a piano, and he did a 30-minute show for so much rent, off his rent. And he'd say, now don't send somebody up there 15 minutes before I go on, and I'll come down there and you just walk in, sit down at the piano and do a show. And Dale and Grace that's a million seller back in the 60s, but that's big. The next one was 900,000. The next one was $500,000. He had 3 in a row. Stop and think it over, and one more. I forgot what the name of it was, but he was he'd run through all of his money and went broke, and he's doing painted plastic bags for Kmart. He's working in a thing where they paint plastic bags, and he's needed a cheap place. That's just a little 2-room efficiency there, you know, and that's just right down his alley.
Yeah.
And Dale, I think him and Grace got into it or something. He had a lot of money at one time. Zane was telling me about how he had a lot of money, but then after he got through, then we'd go into a dance show. See, we had a regular set show. All of them, that thing full of seats. And then we'd put the seats out on the sides and take some of them up. Not many of them, but we'd scratch them on back into there, tighten up on the aisles.
Yeah.
And when we did, they'd go to all these other places. They'd say, let's go to Solidville. They're open 3 o'clock. We can just do some more dancing.
Yeah.
Back then, people were just getting ready at 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
They'd come in there. We'd take a 30-minute break. 11:30 to 12, so we could change the seats. And then they'd come in and start dancing. We had a dance band come in, country band.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and when they did that, and then we quit at 3, and me and Howard and Ada and Karen and Rhonda and whoever worked there, your daddy, if he was there, we'd clean that thing up for next Sunday. We'd clean that thing up. We set all them garbage cans, set them seats back, just like it for a church, you know, it took a while to do that. It took us close to an hour.
It's a big place.
It took about an hour. We got through about 4 o'clock. And then we'd go up to the truck stop at that Raccoon Valley and have breakfast. And then we come in after breakfast and I guess go to bed or something. I don't know. I got up one morning, this group had been there, New River Boys, if any of them's listening to me. New River Boys got up there and they had been singing in the parking lot. They like to come in and play on stage, and then they want to get there and jam up in the parking lot, by themselves, you know.
Right.
And so they had played all night up there, jamming around, drinking and playing and having a good time. And I got up, I woke up at 8 o'clock. And I walked out the door. And there they was at the wishing well. They got that oars front before they was going to drive off. And they was singing gospel hymns Sunday morning then, see. I walked out and I said, if it ain't the Budweiser Quartet. And I got to tell you something funny. This is too bad to tell, too good to keep, as Mr. Walker said. So they had a jam session out there, and we had one of them big old picnic tables. And whoever designed it, maybe it's me, I don't know, but whoever designed it, it didn't go out. If 2 people sit down on it, it's okay, but if you put 3 people on it, it'd dry up. And, excuse me, it'd dry up with you. So it was okay if people sitting on both sides of it.
Right.
It wouldn't dry up, you know. And there's 6 sitting on it, 3 over here and 3 over here. And Uncle Walter, somebody brought this fella called Uncle Walter there, and Uncle Walter played fiddle. He's sitting on one side, and some girl was sitting there, a lady was sitting with him, and another one was sitting with him, and this other side, all 3 jumped up at the same time. They must have been together. And when they did, that table turned over. It went over and threw them out on the ground. And that woman fell kindly across Uncle Walter. And they said, oh, Uncle Walter, you hurt. He said, no, I ain't hurt, but get that woman off my face and she's breaking wind. I thought I'd die like they got poor Uncle Walter up off there. And I said, Uncle Walter, did it hurt you in the skin? No, I don't think I'm hurt. And we dusted him off, set him back, and got his fiddle up. Knocked his fiddle one way and his bow the other way. We got it up and restored order.
Yeah.
And so I took care of Uncle Walter. And then this was one of the funny things that happened on stage. We was on stage and this is the first part, and the stage was just a foot high back then. And to keep you off the stage, we just had a curtain pull. Well, if you backed up on that curtain, you catch your heels on that, you might just throw yourself out. Nobody never done it. But we had an old boy playing snare drum, and the New River Boys was on, and these Mountaineers or something like that came down. There was a great big woman using snuff. Great big old, she's a big heavy woman, had one of them old Martin guitars, no telling what it's worth. Old, maybe in the 40s. And she's playing on that old Martin. And there's all standing there getting ready to go on. And because it was the New River doing their last song, which was, it was a recitation song, gospel song. That's winding their show up. While they was singing, that woman kept backing up. Because she backed up and caught her legs on that bitty stage, and she fell backwards and took curtain and all when she did. She fell right down, almost hit the band, went right behind the band with the curtain, and it knocked that boy's drum off, and he was going clung, 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 clung. And, oh, man, you know, it like scared me to death. I grabbed her up right quick, because she never did take her guitar off. It still landed on her belly later, and I grabbed it up, and Ken, bass player, grabbed the curtain and pulled it up, and he couldn't hang it. He just stood there and held it, you know, so people couldn't see what was going on. And I said, oh, honey, are you hurt? And I said, no. I said, did it hurt? I said, I was trying to get her mind off. I didn't want to get sued, you know. And I said, did it hurt your guitar? She said, guitar, you know what? I said, I busted my, you know. She did it right out playing. It went out right over the PA. That's about A-double-A. She said real loud right over it. Oh, man, it's just funny things that happen. It just couldn't happen.
Of course, David, you remember them late night shows, you got a lot of them drunk shows. Everything else is closed down, and they wasn't ready to go home, and so they won't stop beside me and finish up the night.
Yeah, finish up the night, yeah.
But they was pretty decent. They was, you know, some of them get a lot of mouthy, like a lot of people doesn't
We never did have very
Right. They do, yeah.
Just a few small fights.
Yeah,
I'll tell you one thing, buddy. If we call Anderson County, they'd be there in a split second. The old saying is that they'd be there. The cops would be there.
Mm-hmm.
I remember one night, this boy, he was going to have to be removed. He's on drugs or something.
Yeah.
And one of the highway patrolmen he heard it on the side of the bill.
Yeah.
He was right there at it, and he went in. So, what is it, David? What is it? I said, him. He said, just a minute, let me get him outside. And I was getting for public drunkenness on it's going to arrest him, so you won't have to come to court. But he said, I heard it, and I was close to you. He said, boy, man, they took care of me. They knew it was a family show and dance, and we didn't want them in there, but we knew the guy coming in there belly, he's already got it. So. And they flipped their cars. I didn't care if you could handle it.
Right.
But, oh, man, they'd come get them, and they'd get them. They'd be there in just a matter of seconds. And I remember one night, the power went off. It blew the transformer right next to, right there, running off the side of his lights. And them people was in there, and of course, air went off and everything, and it was air conditioning, and it was getting hot. They sat there in the dark now, and I said, I don't know what to tell you. And halfway through the show, I said, I don't know what to tell you. And they said, well, see if you can get them lights on. I called Clinton, and I told him that Monday, and I said, Monday, I'm sitting over here in this building with about 200 people. I said, they ain't gonna leave. We got to have some lights. I said, well, we'll get somebody in about 20 minutes. They got somebody over and got the lights turned right back on. I said, well, we'll just go 20 minutes over with dance floor. And they sat right there. You know, it's funny. People just stay right. That place is just, it's just, you know, it's a historical place. And my daddy built the blocks one at a time for the first building. 1940. See, he built about 40. He made the block in 46 and 7, built it in 48. But every bit of it is historical over 50 years now. All of it is. Yeah. You know, because I opened the barn in 66, and every bit of it's been built. It's somebody coming there. It was yesterday. I was sitting down there, and they come in and said, and told me about somebody that picked McCormick. He was with Lester Flatt, and I was with Carl Story. And said, do you know him? He's a friend of mine. We picked something together. And I said, yeah. He said, I said, in fact, I got a booklet somewhere from Grand Walker where he was on picking for Lester Flatt. Yeah, that's who he worked for, Lester. And I said, that night, Bill Monroe said, we're going to go off with the grand finale number. Bluegrass said, all the fiddle players line up. We're going to do 2 getting tires and do a break.
Yeah.
And all the mandolin players, too, and all the banjo pickers. And McCormick looked over at me and said, me and you about the same, I guess. It's just me and you go together, because some of them, you know, playing some fancy stuff. But I said, I remember him, me and him played on the grand finale at the Grand Ole Opry one night. But, you know, it's been a time. I sit there sometimes and just go back and think about things that went on and happened, and some of them just so funny that it's just stuff that most people will never ever get to see or never they won't never see it with their heart.
No.
Nobody'd have a life like we had, would they?
No, I guarantee nobody.
And I told somebody, Ron, yesterday I was telling him about, they was talking about Mr. Walker and a commercial, and I said, yeah, it was the thing I wrote where we had him in the car with them women, them girls.
Yeah.
You got them girls going. Ron had them girls back there, and they was dressed for the beach. And
why is it Ron had those girls? I didn't set those girls up. You set those girls up. I didn't hire nobody. Ron showed up to do the voice work.
Oh,
yes.
I remember Ron was there.
Yeah, Ron was there.
Mr. Walker sitting there, and them girls got him excited, and he couldn't remember his lines. Remember Eddie sitting there?
Yeah, I remember.
Now, David, let's do that again. Are we going to do some more of these commercials? I said, we'll have to get through this one first. Mr. Walker. I said, you need to say what I'm telling you to say. What did you want me to say? And it said, on this end, it said, Clayton got a better deal on Wave, you know, because he's sitting in the back seat, 3 girls. What it does, he wrote, I know what caused it. This guy's talking about A models. And we had to take the aspirator off to get the door open enough to get him in it. I drove it in there, and had this woman with a billy goat. And that's supposed to be his wife, and he's taking her to over to Clayton to get a car.
Yeah.
And he pulled in and said, you going to trade your truck? No, I just looking around. And they showed him that, and got him there with them girls, and he lost track. And when he left, He said, Clayton got a better deal and waved and drove by her, and she's still standing back that truck, that Billy Goat, that big old Billy Goat, never had the old antler. Oh, she was making moo. She was mad. You could see it. It was a real good commercial. Yeah, but I thought that's why I brought them girls. I could just sit right here. Girls, girls, girls. Hey, I thought one thing, girls will be girls.
Now they will.
Oh, man, we had Mr. Walker. He got far out there. He's about like my daddy is over. And he got up in years and had a birthday. Them girls all hugging on him, petting him, there in the store and eating part of his cake, so gave him something in there. He looked over me and said, David, how old did you say I was?
Yeah.
He got feeling his cake, you know. He ate his cake. Oh, goodness.
Well, Miss Walker, she get jealous, though, and he getting messed around them girls and said, well, she get mad on the hand.
Oh, yeah, she get mad at him.
Oh, Lord.
I'd set up deals on TV and get them girls in there sitting in his lap and said she'd call him. Oh, man. I'd write his script. He had to tell jokes, you know. They're going to roast him in different places.
Right.
And take him at these big restaurants and roast him and everything. He said, David, I need some stuff. They're going to roast me tonight. I'm not at some big place. And I'd say, well, I'd write him out. And he'd say, no, I need something different than that. And I said, you want something a little worse than that, don't you? And he said, yeah, give me something better than that. One, I wrote him. See, I knowed all his. He knew I knew all of them. I knew his jokes because he did, because it's something he told. And one he told was, it wasn't a joke, but some of it was reality. You know, he said, you know, this salesman come, said, we was doing log work, said this salesman come by and said, that woman fed at evening for the workers when they come in, said he's there for some reason he's going to eat. And said, he sat down and said, that old woman's hard hearing. And she said, he wasn't eating much because he had a big suit and everything on, his Travis salesman, keeping his weight down, I guess. Said, she didn't know nothing about all that stuff. She said, eat your meal. He said, I've had sufficient. She said, you went fishing? He said, no. Said, I've had plenty. She said, you caught 20? He said, no. Said, Lord bless that poor old soul. She said, you broke your pole. She had all lined up. And then Mr. Walker said, you know, I got in trouble at that old boarding house. There's 3 cats, Bug, Tabby, and Shinley. He said, Shinley was a girl cat. He said, them 2 old tomcats, one sit over here and watch her, and the other sit over here and watch her. Said, just remind me of a bunch of 2 guys after no girl or something, you know. He said, I could go just like a cat. So I go, wow, foot. Said, when I done that, them 2 boy cats jumped up and run together and broke their necks, killed each other. Said, boy, that old woman didn't want me around her. See, I had to kind of sneak in on supper for a few times, and she didn't like me too good, too. The cats got killed right there. And he said, it was funny. I mean, it wasn't funny to him because of the way they lived. It's their way of life. He said that it's doing the logging in a logging camp. He's working logging camp, and said there's a sack. And I saw him do this. In a logging camp, you got a little trail where that horse goes down through there, a mule, where you're pulling them. They just take a chain, put it on a log, and he takes one log at a time. And what they do, they just lay his line down, like, you know, so he thinks somebody's leading him. And he just takes off. They'll go down there and they turn him around and lay it back down. He'll come right back up there. That's the way they got him trained. You know, my uncle's in logging, and I used to watch him do that a lot. But anyhow, so we'd had a 22, and after in that woods, we'd shoot squirrels all day long. And she'd make squirrel dumplings the next night.
Yeah.
And so what you do, boy, they are good. I was in Brownsville a few years ago for a big thing with Masons, and they used to chop them squirrels half until you get half a squirrel once you're dumpling. You talk about I've eaten dumplings, but they nothing tastes like squirrel dumplings. It's got a different flavor because it's something about the meat, I guess. And he said, that's what we got now, the half of a squirrel, big old plate full of squirrel dumplings. And he said, his new boys coming in every day on them jobs, and he said we'd put them squirrels in a sack, and said when they got them in there, she'd clean them and everything, have them up for supper next night, and said, we'd say, pass them rats, because you know, the new boys eat them. So he said they wouldn't eat them.
Right.
Said, rats? Yeah, it's rats. Ain't they good? You know, they tell them rats, so they wouldn't eat them. He said, we can eat more that way. It's just something to see the way people operated back then was, it was a way of life.
Oh, yeah.
It's just the way they live. Mr. Walker tell me a lot of things, how he worked, and how he went out west, and he had to put, but he got telling us one trip, he said, I know you boys don't like me buy a dog and put in a car with you, but said, that saved my life one time. Said, it snowed and I got out in the woods and got stuck with them. So I had a station wagon, said I got snowbound that there and couldn't get stuck till the next morning. Said I was frozen to death in me from them dogs. Said I just got in the back and put them dogs on top of me. Kept me warm, kept me from getting frozen. Fred looked over at me and said, David, if it gets too cold on this trip, throw on another dog. He let Fred get about anything, Fred always making it funny. And I remember we played Petros, and we went down there with my limousine. And there's 9 of us got in that big old Cadillac I had back in. Mr. Walker stood up there and held the front door open till they all got loaded. He had 3 sections seating. And he said, how many does this thing hold, David? And I said, 9. He said, what kind of gas mileage is this car again? He's worried about it. This guy told me he pulled up a service station one time and they just changed to self-service. He said, Mr. Walker, he said, I saw your buddy last week. He said he pulled in over at one of them service stations, self-service, and said he got out and said he just messed with that nozzle. Finally, I went there and said, need some help, Mr. Walker? And he said, yeah, I need some help. He said, how much have I put in this? He said, 9 cents. He said, rest his pocket and give me a dime to keep the change. He said, I'm thinking about buying this place and get some help here. He said, I don't know nothing about putting in gas. He was a trip just to travel with.
Like traveling with a business encyclopedia, wasn't it?
He was walking encyclopedia. Boy, he was a smart man. He was highly educated. See, he went to college. A lot of people didn't know that. But he just knew stuff. He knew what words meant. I saw him take a piece of paper, somebody's son, somebody, and say, let me see it. And he always carried a lead pencil, a regular pencil, stuck down in his shirt pocket, eraser down that way. He'd say, mark this out and use this word here and here. He said, they'll sue you and they'll get it. He said, you got the words wrong. He says, so, you have to be real careful that you say, if you get somebody for breaking and entering, they got to break something. Or you just entered. So you already, fortunately, you could get shot or something. Could be a lot of other things happen, but it's like, that kid, you could be pushing up daisies, but it was a...
That's crazy law word. Now they say if you get broke into or whatever, and then they're running away, and you shoot them, they get you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Or they're leaving the scene, you're in no longer in danger.
Right.
Well, yeah.
Oh,
right.
Threat, yeah.
Yeah, when you the deputy, they take you through all that stuff, Somebody's up over you with a sharp something, you save somebody's life. There's lots of things you can and can't do.
Exactly.
Go through all that there. But anyhow, tell us some of your experiences, Dustin. You got anything exciting?
You made any commercials with a carload of girls, Dustin?
No, I ain't never did nothing like that.
Well, you ain't lived till you have.
I know. Where was I? Why didn't you call me for that?
Tell me about your dog. He's got a good dog.
Oh, yeah, Bowser. I got an old Doberman Pinscher.
Bowser.
Yeah, he's red. I've had him since he's about 8 weeks old. He's now 7 years old, but that's my buddy right there. He goes everywhere with me usually. But you've had some dogs, ain't you, Huck?
Oh, I've had a lot of dogs.
Tell him about Walter.
Yeah, I know. I had the one. I'll tell you about the one that we trained him because what it was when he got castrated, we took him head fixed. Well, they had a big old bandage all the way around his whole body. And we'd put him out there, and Faye would tell him, my sister would say, lay down, Walter, let me see your belly, and I'll rub it. And she'd rub his belly, and so we got that took off of him, and he'd just, when you motion, he'd just lay down and stick his feet up, and I wanted his belly rubbed, see? And I'd be sitting there at the L.A.N.M. from Nashville. We'd sit there, and I had a big old shed built where we got under it, Daddy and him. And so all of a sudden, I jump up, and we had a wheelbar sitting there in a little express wagon, kid wagon. I said, I believe it's time for Walter's ride. And I'd take him on a ride. And they'd say, do you have to holler? I said, no, yeah, he looks forward to a ride every so often. I have to take him on a ride.
It's his routine.
Oh, it's something else. I've had several dogs, but I just love dogs and cats.
Me too. I love
Oh,
animals.
well, he get a kick out of that. He said, he shake his head. I told Dave one time up there, I said, boy, Dave, I said, if that dude jumps a rabbit, I said, he's going to run you to death. David hauled him around that wheelbarrow.
Yeah.
He said right up there, buddy, just like you.
I'll tell him about him that he'd go with me anywhere in trucks, cars. If he'd want to ride up with me in a seat, and he wanted to be right beside of me.
Yeah.
I just put my arm around him.
Right.
I put my arm around him, everything's okay.
Yeah.
But we got over at the co-op, and I said, well, come on, you can get up here in the back. So he got out, walked up on the steps with me, and went up in the back of the truck. I said, don't you get out here. So I told him that he wouldn't move. And then I went out there, and this woman tried to coax him out. And he just prancing. He wanted to come out for it, but he saw me, and she said, boy, that dog, he minds, don't he? I said, he better. So I'd go down to the farm at the lake, and I had property down that way. And I had him a seat built on my tractor where he could just run and jump up on that seat and ride.
Yeah.
One day I was going to take a load of, I had that filled up with stuff, and I had a bush hog on it, and I put a lot of lumber on it, and chained it where it wouldn't fall off. And I ain't had no place to haul him. He's wanting to go. And I said, here, get up on top of this lumber. And so I went down through there, and when I did, somewhere I throwed him off, I guess, on one of them curves, Well, I forgot about him. I forgot why he took him dinner and all. I was real busy.
Yeah.
I come home that evening, I said, where's Walter at? And he said, well, you took him with you. And I said, I take him with me. He had him on the back on that lumber. Oh, shoot, I went and took $10,000 for that dog.
Right.
Boy, I jumped in there and started running up and down the road, humming, Walter. Well, we called Rowdy, lived on the farm, and said, I was working on that lake that day. Rowdy said that, they said, you saw anything with Walter? Yeah, he didn't hear. I said, I thought y'all left him down here because he'd go with us there to work.
Yeah.
I thought y'all just went off and left him down here. I said, he's right here. He knew where that was at.
Right.
He got to that, so I went and picked him up, brought him back in, but Bill Clinton was president at that time, and I'd say, Walter, would you rather, I'd get right in front of a bunch of people and sit there and I'd say, especially if they start talking politics, I'd say, Walter, would you rather be Bill Clinton or a dead dog? And he'd just fall over and stick his legs up there,
Yeah.
They say, good night. That's a smart dog. Ron Bledsoe saw him and said, that dog's ready for the movie. He said, well, he knew just about everything he tell him. I'd take him in, he'd come in the store. If I was going to go in there a minute, I'd put him in a chair and I'd say, he'd sit right there. He'd sit right there till I got ready to leave. Well, he was the best minded dog. I believe I got him out of the dog pound in Oak Ridge.
Is that where you got him, Walter? No.
Somebody told me, said they got some pretty dogs down there, and I went down there, and here he come up. I'll tell you about him. He come home. I brought him home. I fed him, and got up next morning. He's gone. So I said, well, and he was headed back to the Kendall where he's headed. He went all the way over to where he turned down to Edgemore in that trailer park. He got right there.
Man, he's on his way, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was headed back down with the other dogs, I guess.
Oh.
So I started, what happened, he had a collar on him and had it where I got his vaccination.
Yeah.
And they looked at number up and called, and it was that doctor that used to be at Corns, I forget his name. Butler.
Yeah.
Butler, yes it was. They called Butler and said, we've got a number on a tiger. And he said, that's David WYSH's dog. Said, he's getting his shots and stuff here a few weeks ago. Or a couple of days ago. No, I know what it was. It wasn't his collar. It was a dog I had before that I put on him.
Yeah.
They said he had shot a while back. Said that's his dog. So I knew then it was his because I'd put that other dog's collar on and he got killed or something. But they had a record of it, so I went over to that trailer park. Somebody called. They called me after they called Dr. Butler and said, we got your dog over here at that trailer park. So I went over. They said he's been sleeping in an old car there every night, an old junk car sitting up there. I said, I don't know where he's at. And I was fixing to leave.
Yeah.
And there's a little creek down there. I had to holler and holler for me and come. I looked, here he come. I said, Walter, boy, he shot up through there. And I bent over like this, and he jumped right through my back, right through the seat and sat down.
Oh.
I took him home with me, and I started petting him. Boy, he was glad to see me, and he never did offer to leave no more.
That's it.
He stayed right there and do everything you tell him to.
The best dog you ever had.
He was a real good one, yeah.
Oh, I love
Some
him.
dogs are smart, buddy. I mean,
Oh,
they
yeah.
I know boys that he had a farm, he had several. He had a cattle. And he'd just walk out the door there at his house and say, dog, go get the cattle. That old dog take off, buddy. He sat there, buddy, here he come.
Round him up.
Bring him back to the barn. Yeah.
Wow.
You got any dogs, Ron?
Oh yeah. Emma. I've had. She's. I think Emma's 10 now. And I've had her since she's pup. I got her at the Oak Ridge Pound too. I just got a new dog last week.
Oh no, that's exciting.
It wasn't by choice.
What'd you get? What kind?
It's one of those little. It's a Shih Tzu Poodle mix.
Oh, okay.
Shadoodle.
Yeah.
I think that's what they
I
call
think
it.
you're right, Ron.
Yeah. My neighbor went somewhere and the lady had a box of them, trying to get rid of them.
Right.
And they're about 6 months old. So I've got this little brown terror that can choose everything at my house right now.
Yeah, still in that stage.
Peanut. That's his name.
That's a good name.
Yeah. And then I've also got our other dog, Zoe. I've had her for about 5 years now. She's the same thing.
Oh, nice. That's awesome. They're your best friends, ain't they?
Mm-hmm.
I love dogs.
They're best friends, all right. You clean up. It'd take a best friend to be able to eat my phone cord and me not kill it.
That's right.
Well, my wife wants so bad she can't stand it, but nope, no way.
Yeah, it's a lot.
She lost a little poodle.
Yeah.
And man,
I know.
Yeah,
they
don't
get
live
attached.
long enough. It's the only bad thing.
Every time he'd find a toy, she'd squalling, and I said, don't even think about getting another hanger. Listen to that.
Right.
It'd be like you had it.
Yeah.
Did it like you too?
Oh, no, it hated me. Oh, it did. I usually got
You need
home
to get
from
one that
school.
likes you.
Yeah.
And then,
It was a house dog. She wouldn't let it outside. And it was solid black. Well, usually I'd get home, like I say, before she did. But I'd let it out and it'd go out and do its business, whatever, come back. And a lot of times he'd jump up on the couch right beside me. And as soon as she walked in that door, son, I was history. I could just look at her and he'd growl at me. I said, you little bag so-and-so. I said, I'll break your neck. You better not hit that dog.
That's funny, Aaron.
I love dogs, but I like them outside dogs, big bulldogs.
Yeah, that's what I like, the big dogs. I ain't never had no little one.
But I have several Dobermans.
They're good dogs, ain't they?
And yeah, and lost them both for that Pervo.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah,
Vic
that's the
told me, he
best
said,
stuff.
man, said there's a hybrid dogs like that. They'll get that before, and more cur dogs just, they don't get nothing.
That's the truth. Yeah, that's the truth.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. And,
You know, I had a St. Bernard, and I got a picture of your daddy.
Yeah.
Did you see it?
I-
With that dog?
I think so, yeah.
I'm sure it. I got a picture of me and Max and Daddy and CR with that dog out there and the big old. Oh, we couldn't afford to keep him. I mean, Lord,
He
he just took that big old cans of dog food in one bite.
Yeah.
This St. Bernard, I mean, man, it's a huge dog. It
Hell
took
yeah.
a lot for him to eat.
He's probably 200 pounds, wasn't he?
Yeah, we just had that. It's either him or us one had to go. Yeah, I mean, he's a huge dog. He's a sweet old dog. Somebody give him to me, and I don't know. I think I was giving him Steve Max, but they couldn't afford him, so I don't know who wound up with that blessing, but anyway. Anyhow,
well, I love Steve, but if he had to feed, don't think he'd keep one too long.
No.
Yeah.
I think
No.
you're right. I think you're right.
Steve, but he sits down and figures out everything.
Yep.
Yeah, he
To
figured
the
out.
penny.
Got to the penny, baby. He'll get. I say now, get your money or don't give me no change. Take an even dollar, make it come out. Get you advantage all the time. He don't like that. But yeah, he got good. Oh, he's something else.
He is.
He don't never carry a billfold.
Never.
Never carries a ballpoint pen. Never wears a watch. Never wears a belt.
Nope.
It's just certain things he don't do it no way. And he used to never carry a knife, and I told him that last night. He said, yeah, I carry a knife. He said, Dustin give me one, and he pulled it out and he had it in his pocket.
Yeah.
I said, I know you carry for a knife, you carried a little bitty razor.
Yeah.
When he was shooting that razor.
Yeah, old
And
box.
for a billfold, he's got a little old bitty thing like this. He puts his driver's license instead of
Yep.
And for money, I said, Steve, don't you, let me give you a good money clip. And he said, no, I got them. I just don't want them. He uses a paper clip.
Is that what he uses?
A paper clip. Man.
Look at his money again.
One of them big paper clips. Puts his money in
I
it.
didn't know that.
I guess the bigger the paper clip, the better off he's doing.
That's
right.
right.
If it's a little paper clip, it's been a slim week.
I said, I'm going to give you a money clip. He said, no, I got some. I probably already gave him some.
Yeah, you probably have, huh?
He said, oh, I've got money clips. And I like his paper clip. He said, it's what he said. I got a clip. I said, what kind you got? And he pulled out that paper clip. That big. Oh, he's far out, I tell you. He tickled me. He had a job working at the bank. And they had he worked even night shift. And they had a refrigerator, and you could put your stuff in there, your food to eat your lunch with, you know. And so Elmer said, Buddy, he's something else. Said, he sat down and figured how much ounces in a can Coke, and how much in a 2 liter. And he said, I'm going to start taking 2 liters, so it's a lot cheaper. He started putting his 2 liter in there and
Yeah.
Drank a little bit at a time.
drank a little bit of time. Didn't waste none.
That's
He'd
it.
get more out of 2 liter than he could 3 cans.
Yeah.
Oh, he watches prices.
On
Real
everything.
good still yet.
Oh, yeah, he's good at it.
I go eat. I take him to eat. I always take him to eat. You see, are you going to get the specials? I ain't never buying a special. I buy what I'm hungry for. I said, Steve, honey, if you don't eat it, somebody else is going to eat it. Enjoy yourself. I walk in and tell him, I say, now, here's what I want. Don't worry about what it costs. This is what I want. Because you're number one. All of us is number one. If we don't do what we want to do, I mean, it's like we want Ron to do something that I like.
Right.
He need to do what he likes.
That's right.
But he definitely wouldn't do what I like.
Yeah, I mean,
You know,
I don't know. We like a lot of the same stuff.
Right.
yeah. I'll tell you, hey, let me tell you what we've been doing this week. I've painted about 200 birdhouses on the plots of I just took a notion. I got one of them cadets,
Mm-hmm.
and I just pulled up and two, three different cans of spray paint It's a post, and I can just spray that thing. Don't have to get out and spray them. I've done 2.
Driving paint.
That's it. Oh, yeah.
Now, guess what we've been doing this week? And
What?
You want to finish it up? You want to finish it today or Monday?
Probably Monday. I got to go do some pressure washing this evening for Katie's dad.
Okay, he's going to, Monday, he likes 3 pieces. He likes a tractor and a mail truck and an engine. And we've been painting, you know them cars sitting up there in the lot?
Yes.
You don't know them now.
Oh, no.
The A model and a black police car and the green.
We'll paint them all.
Painting them all.
Yep.
Painting them cars up. They look like, they look like something I might want to trade for now. I got to look down there and say,
You like them, huh?
I might want that car.
I'll sell them to you. Just kidding.
Yeah, they little A model look pretty good.
Yeah, they look good to the Howard. Better than that. It stands out a lot more for sure.
Yep.
The fire truck, Uncle Dave got it all lettered up, and it looks good.
You like that big old steam engine?
Yeah. We still got to do some stuff to it.
And a mail truck and 1 farm tractor. Y'all read? Well, what gave me the idea? I had a farm tractor sitting up there, and I said, "Boy, it'd look good if it's painted." So you just went there and painted it.
Yeah.
What'd you use to paint it with?
A brush and some paint, just some barn paint.
Hey, and it looks good.
It does, yeah.
He calls it hairbrush will paint.
The barn really looks good. It does a good job on
It
that.
does.
Yeah.
Oh, that barn's pretty down.
Yeah.
You got to see that, right? You got to come up there and see all of it.
I will.
I didn't even recognize that place.
Yeah, it looks different, don't it?
I got different colors of paint: blue birdhouse, green birdhouse, yellow birdhouse.
It's decorated up for sure.
I love it.
And I fixed to order 2 4-foot USA. I put it on a post and skipped 10 feet.
Uh-huh.
S-A. Put USA on that fence up there.
Oh, that's cool.
Decorate
Yeah.
it. Come where you can see it.
From the highway.
4 foot high letters, and you can see it from.
Oh, yeah. You'll be able to see it for sure.
way
That's
up
cool.
Creed asked him one time, Ron, he said, Davis said, why you got so many birdhouses? He said, we got a lot of birds.
Oh, I got to tell you this too. So I painted birdhouse. I was going to go out there, the one that faced Steve's house. He's sitting up on the porch, and I come by and said, "Where you fixing to paint these birdhouses?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Don't bother them 2 right there. They got birds in them." I've been sitting here watching them go in and out. I said, "I'm afraid it'd make them sick or something." So I didn't do them, and I asked him last night, I said, "Is them birds left yet?" He said, "One bunch had, but the other than I wouldn't get them both at the same time."
Yeah.
It'd be nice birdhouse. Bluebirds. Oh, he loves birds.
I do too, though.
Yeah.
Granny's favorite was the redbird. She liked those cardinals.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I got a lot of them wrens and them doves. They like I feed them a lot of bird feed.
They're nice. They're beautiful to have around. I like having wildlife around. I got a lot of rabbits.
Squirrels,
in my yard.
squirrels come up to the porch. We got chickens. We get our own eggs and
I like that.
2 roosters. I got one in there. The chickens, one on the outside, won't in.
Yeah. He wants in bad.
It's Rojo. And we got big red
Rojo.
Oh, they'll crow. I can go out any time in the morning early and they'll start crowing. I holler, Rojo. We'll let anybody here lay back.
He does.
And I went there to feed them about 2 or 3 hours ago, and Rojo jumped up on that tractor that you'd painted, and he sat there and crowed for me I don't know how many times. And sometimes he'll run me around that car.
Oh, yeah, he does.
He follows
He
me.
chases you, yeah.
Oh, he's something else. But we still got some Jerusalem donkeys.
Yeah.
We got a lot to see over
You
there.
guys here a few weeks ago, you weren't here because you had a baby donkey.
Yeah, we had a baby, and it
didn't
survive.
make
No, unfortunately. It wouldn't eat for some
It
reason.
wouldn't eat?
We tried to bottle feed it
she
and
didn't
everything.
feed it, and
Yeah.
sometimes they just desert them, you know.
Yeah.
Could have been sick or something. Ate 'em.
Yeah,
I think it was all right, but
they sensed there's something wrong with it. They want nothing to do with it.
That's it, yeah.
No.
Didn't
But anyhow, I have had them, you know. My mom told me one day after, she said, "Look at what she's went off and left that little thing man out there and said, it's laying over." And I went and grabbed it, got a bottle and put it on the bottle, and it just took right off. Growed up. But anyhow, oh yeah, I got a Shoney's boy.
Big one.
When'd you get that?
They sell them up in Pigeon Forge. I got all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
All of it. And, you know, there's little barrels and stuff in there, to all new flowers in them. I walked in one of them places up there, and I said, Anthony was with me, and I said, or he took me up there. We was just riding around. He says, let's go to the flea market up there. I need to get some flowers. And he said, how many you want? And I said, tell him I want 250 bundles of them. 250. The guy looked at him. He said, okay. He got a big bag of there. We got 250 bunches of those flowers and decorated. And then I needed just a few more and got them. But you got to see all that stuff, decorated flowers. You got to see that barn.
I want to see it.
We got the John Deere stuff. See, I had a big John Deere. It's big for me, you know. What big for me might not be big for somebody else.
That's true.
I thought I had a small Coca-Cola collection, and Miss Friday come out there and saw it and said, you got stuff we ain't got.
Yeah, you got a big Coca-Cola collection. Mickey Mouse collection.
Yeah, you got some in boxes that ain't even out. Anyhow, we'll talk about Sideville just a little bit, I guess. Ron's been running a lot of commercials for us here lately.
Well, we ran a bunch for a month.
Yeah.
Ran a bunch.
Yeah.
So you've been selling the CDs, huh?
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of people.
They better get in there and get what's left before they're all gone, huh?
That's it.
Well, we've been
Ain't
selling
left.
CDs. I mean, he's selling them.
We was sitting out there on the patio the other day, David, and that commercial come on, Meredith, and come on. She come out here and she said, that sounds familiar. I said, you know who that is? She said, well, I've heard it before, but I can't place it. And I said, Luke Brandon. She said, yep, that's it.
That's Luke.
Oh, look. But nothing like
He's a
him,
dandy, ain't he?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
That's Sideville Music, 2836 Clinton Highway.
You can't mistake it for nobody, you know it.
That's it.
That's it.
And another one I gear him, he can be 100 people in a store. That's Johnny Shelton.
Oh,
He had a unique voice that, you couldn't mistake him for
he was a
nobody.
good singer, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. He's a good songwriter, too. He wrote some good songs.
I got one of those CDs they made of him, the LE and all of them. Boy.
Yeah. He wrote that song, Where Angels Fear to Tread. Beautiful song.
What's something ain't the music's
Yeah.
went on around this part
Oh,
of the
yeah.
country. Anyhow,
It's still going. Still got a bunch of it going. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Oh, yeah.
Anthony's got loads of guitars over there. Martin is coming in, like bunches of them. Just about, he sold, I believe, 3 or 4 yesterday, he said.
That's good.
Anyhow, they're moving them real good. Been selling drums. And, of course, he just come back off a big cruise. He done had it set up for you and took that over there, and he couldn't get off of it. But they had a good time, he said. But come over see us, and we got plenty of Martins, and I'm hanging around down there just a little bit occasionally. And
Boy, he's got a drum collection, ain't he?
Oh,
Boy, he
yeah.
does.
Man.
He's got them.
man,
If it's not the biggest in the state, it's right up there with the
It's
drugstore
close,
down
yeah.
in Nashville.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's huge.
Yeah.
yeah, about half of them down there, he said, had the rest of them warehouse. I mean, he got
Yep.
a lot of drums. Biggest collection I know of anywhere. But anyhow, he's running a bunch of Martins right now. If you want any kind, but just come over and look at it. And he's got them from $10,000 to, well, I guess we go up about 350 to about 10,000 in stock. And he just got a whole bunch of stuff where you need to look at. Fenders, Gretsch,
Yeah.
all accessory stuff. And then Doug is still doing a lot of PA systems, but that's about what he's doing now. He goes out and getting these PAs put up for about 3 or 4 different bands now.
That's
And
good.
so, and then they have a show. Kids has karaoke on Friday night, and I believe it may be this week or next week. They're going to have a Saturday night show with 2 or 3 bands. They're going to be big. But anyhow, come over and see us, and if you want a CD, we got some of those left. That new song, it Don't Let Them Push Your Mark Out the Door. It's a real good song. And
Good song.
so, I guess that we're going to wind it up for the next time. We'll thank everybody for all the help they give us down through the years. We've had a lot of people come by, and we just so many people, they come in every day now talking about when we all run the barn and this, that, and the other. And takes your mind back to all those good times that we've had,
Oh, yeah.
And anyhow, till we get to see you next week, I guess we'll wind her up, Herd.
I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna wind it up, but we'll close it with song. Try to get trying to kick America out the door. We'll wrap it up with that. We'll close with that this morning, and then you still got them for sale over at the barn, right?
Yeah,
you got
we got
these
$5 on that.
Yep,
yeah.
Till they're gone. So get them while you can get them. Anything else?
That's it, I believe.
Let's call it a day, boys. See y'all later.
Okay.
Trying to push America out the door. I found out when I went to the hardware store. Brought me to my knees, and on the label said Chinese. They're trying to push America out the door. Washington says everything's okay. We only got in 10 boatloads today. Over half of it was bad. Some folks say that we've been had. They're trying to push America out the door. It seems to be everywhere we look. On our flag, our food, and in our pocketbook. Well, our kids will have to pay if we don't change our ways. So don't let them push America out the door. I remember when it used to say, proudly made in the USA. So don't let them push America out the door.
Hey folks, it's Jake from Rusty Wallace Key of Knoxville, and we're honoring America with patriotic savings all month long. Get $6,000 over KBB value for your trade, no matter the age, mileage, or condition. All month long, get $6,000 more than your trade is worth. Plus, every new Kia comes with our exclusive 200,000-mile warranty and 1-year complimentary maintenance. This July, we're celebrating red, white, and you at Rusty Wallace Key of Knoxville, I-75 at Callahan Drive.
See dealer for details.
Thank you for listening to AM 1380 WYSH and Ask Your Neighbor. Make sure you tune in at 10 a.m. each day, Monday through Friday, right here on AM 1380 WYSH and BBB TV 12. Or listen live online at WYSHradio.com. And remember, if you have a question, comment, or problem, call in tomorrow and ask your neighbor. Or email from our website. It's Ask Your Neighbor. Thanks for listening.